Hi, welcome to It's a Miracle, the weekly internet broadcast teaching the teachings of Jesus Christ through the Course in Miracles, which is an out-of-time manifest that says this course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love because that's beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. We have Monica here with us today, and Doug. It's great. We're going to have fun. Welcome, Monica.
Hi, Monica.
Hi. We're going to look at an exciting idea today, which is the publication here, Timeless Voices of Resurrected Mind. Some of the teachings of the Master Teacher have been put into an organized text. And he's the Master Teacher of the Course in Miracles, isn't he?
Yes.
Awesome. And why are you excited about this book?
Well, I guess because of the experience that I seem to have whenever I open it up. And I happen to have edited this book, so I know it pretty well.
Oh, I see. And they're available in the lobby.
Well, the thing is that, from my experience, what happened to me was when I reached my depression at age 30 in New York. The reason I started to come up out of that was because I had found a couple of books that really spoke to me. And I think that that's how a lot of people find their spiritual paths, is through reading books. And so, it's funny, that's how I heard about the Course in Miracles. I read Louise Hay before, and Bernie Siegel's book, because I was really sick and really depressed. And those books just really spoke to me, and they taught me to go within myself and to start to work with my thoughts. And to me, that was really amazing, because it changed things for me instantly. Yeah, and that led me, of course, to the Course, and practicing the workbook became second nature. I just started doing it. I didn't care if I understood it. I didn't understand it at first. It was just lessons that I had to apply. And suddenly I was sleeping, whereas I wasn't sleeping before. I was able to function in my job, and it was just like suddenly it was a huge turnaround within a very short period of time, just from reading a book. So this book and the books that are what the talks are, like the Master Teacher's been teaching for I don't know how long, but I was really grateful because I came here about 6 or 7 years ago, and I had heard he'd been here teaching for a long period of time, and I thought, oh, I missed all those early talks. Well, I didn't. Guess what? They're in these books. And the cool thing is that there's a lot in there that really speaks to me. And it's not like they're really any different from the Course itself, but he brings the illumination experience to the Course itself, and there'll be a chapter, a lesson in forgiveness is one of my favorite ones, that really teaches you the impossibility of forgiveness.
Can you hear that? Write to me if you can. Uh-huh.
Right? Because everyone thinks that you're able to forgive.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is you can't.
No.
No. Because you think this is a real world, and you
right.
think that your experience of pain is true. And you think someone is actually doing something to you.
Yes. Conceptual forgiveness is impossible.
Yeah. Right. And so I guess it just, because it did happen to me, that I found myself, even after doing the Course for many, many years, that there was something I could not forgive within my mind. And it was so utterly painful to me that I had to undergo a complete surrender. And I didn't know what was happening. It was really kind of a shocking experience. And I don't know if I can go into the details of that, but it was a very intense experience of a legal custody issue with me and my children, and the pain that I was experiencing. I mean, I woke up in fear every day for 18 months, intense fear and didn't know what to do, and I would go into session and be healed in that instant, and I was fine by the end of the day every day. But the next morning I would still, because I didn't know the outcome of this situation, and it was a situation that was so emotional for me that, I mean, it was the most intense thing I've ever done. So I guess when, like I was reading this the other day, and Dear One really, the master teacher really says this, that this is a very emotional undertaking. And I really know that to be true. It's a very emotional undertaking because you are nothing but a bundle of emotions. And I've always known that. Even as a little child, I was really afraid. Everything scared me. My mom would yell at me, I'd be scared. I had 8 brothers and sisters. They'd all be teasing me constantly. I mean, the world really just frightened the hell out of me, So the question is really becomes, well, okay, so what do you do with all these emotions? And that's why I got so depressed too as an adult, was that I had so much fear and that I didn't know what to do with. So this really, that the Course really spoke to me because it dealt with the issue of fear. And I knew that was my problem. I mean, I went to therapy for a couple of years, and still my therapist had no answer for me. She's like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have a day without fear? And I'm like, hello, that's what I want.
No, wait, you're supposed to be helping me.
Yeah, it's true, but it turned out that I actually had to teach her because I found the Course as I was in the situation with her.
Mm-hmm.
And I started teaching forgiveness, and she was blown away.
Yeah.
I think that there was an agreement we had together somehow, that I would, or we'd find the answer somehow, like Helen and Bill, we got to find the answer.
You made an out-of-time agreement.
Yeah.
To come to a point. I had some early experiences like that too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it changes your life.
It does when you actually, 2 of you sit down and say, okay, we're going to look and find, we're actually going to find something. Actually, you don't even say you're going to find something. You just go, it's got to be an answer.
Yeah,
if there is no answer, this is sucking.
Yeah,
if there's no answer, I quit. Okay, so we're going with the answer.
Yeah,
you and me,
please.
pal. What happens? Instantaneously, it happens just like that. As soon as you make that commitment, bam, there it is. Bonk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even now, I question why I had to go through such an intense thing. But as I was going through it, and as I lost, supposedly in the world terms, I lost custody, the devastation was total. So, I wanted to die, and I imagined myself dying. I thought of all different ways of killing myself. And then I still, found myself walking into session, and the master teacher said, death is the beginning, the moment I walked in. So then, I was like, whoa! How did he know that I just had that experience? I never called him, except once I called him when I was in the courtroom. And he said, don't be attached to the outcome. And I said, what? What do you mean, don't
Why am I even here?
How can I not be attached to the outcome? These are my children. I'm fighting for them. And, I had the whole scenario in my mind that was so real. And so it was really cool that I could really hear him when he said, death is the beginning. You do have to be born again. And that was the beginning of my recovery from that situation.
It's an interesting thing that you should say that, because there's a lot of spiritual intent and spiritual pursuit and purpose involved in attempting to find that moment of Genesis through the death moment. Mm-hmm. And Jesus will actually talk about those that are unhealed healers who will say, I'm going to take you to that point. We're going to sit at that point of or total impossibility. Right. That's great. It has a lot of energy, has a lot of intrigue, and a lot of loaded. But this, as you discovered through what he teaches through the Course, is that we go beyond death.
Yeah. And
we resurrect, and now we're extending through the resurrection of mind, aren't we?
Yeah.
And it's kind of exciting to me, because a lot of those who actually picked up the book are motivated through this bottom-out period, but you're not hearing unless you resurrect.
That's
and
right.
that's why he said death is the beginning. You know?
And it was shocking to me that I hadn't heard anything up until that moment, because I saw my unwillingness to forgive. It was really total. I was not willing to forgive him. And it took going through the 12-step program that made me really get on my knees
Right.
and really see, oh my God, I really think someone did something to me, and I'm unwilling to forgive that.
Right.
And so, like, going through that 4th step and writing it all out and
Right.
seeing who your resentments are with, what the resentments are, how they are affecting you. And then that 4th column of having to say, oh my God, where am I being selfish? Where
Right.
am I being self-seeking?
Yeah.
Where am I being afraid?
Yeah.
And
This is the lessons too. He actually
Exactly.
says, no, this is actually happening to me.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I am pissed off. I don't want to
Totally.
be here, or I feel fearful, or this is really happening to me.
Mhm.
And that's at the moment where the resurrected moment occurs, isn't it? Because it's literally impossible to be separate from God. And if you find yourself in a totality of a separation, like you were saying, that death idea, that's when the reversal occurs. And it's what we call a great reversal. The resurrection, you know, you can call anything mystical. And you start to physically change. Not only what you're seeing changes, your body changes, you start exploding into a light factor. You start to extend love physically in your proximity, in your presence. And, you know, some of the shows we've done, we actually do a little physical healing.
Yeah.
You know, we actually
Yeah.
extend light.
Yeah.
Because that's the, I guess, the true litmus test of experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you start to extend love as you were created perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great, isn't it?
Well, the point is that you see that all of it was a dream. All of it was just an illusion. It was something I had made up. And so that was how, I knew I couldn't forgive it, so I asked Jesus, please forgive this for me, because I can't. And I didn't have to, because he just did it for me. And a few months later, I found myself on the phone with my ex-husband saying, thank you for fighting for your kids. And I had nothing to do with that, because I was never going to make that phone call. I really meant it, though, because I could feel how it had freed me. And it had freed everyone. And when I told my kids I had done that, they were like, what? But then they got it. Like, they got it through me, because I was no longer grievous. I was no longer holding a resentment toward their dad. And they got happy.
Wow.
And they'd been depressed up to that point, too. So it's like I really saw that I had actually involved them in my grievance with their dad. And what a painful thing that is to find,
Yeah.
that you're actually the cause of all the pain in this world.
Wow.
That was intense.
Well, Jesus says you're murdering everything around you.
I was murdering
absolutely
everything.
true, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
And I wanted to kill everyone. It made no sense to me. But then as it became clear that my mind had changed, Jesus had forgiven it for me, because I couldn't. I saw the big picture, and I saw how perfect it all was. The kids get to have their dad. I get to have more freedom. I see them as much as I want to when they're on their vacations. It all has just completely come around to me saying, oh my God, I had no idea. I didn't know what the outcome was supposed to be, because I really don't know what's in my own best interest.
Right.
And I think I do.
But that's the beginning of the awakening, isn't it?
Exactly.
Now I don't know what's supposed to be happening. I don't.
That's right.
Now
And
you're
that's
not
really
in
fun now.
It is really fun.
I'm not fighting it.
It's Jesus will say there's a little transition. It's a little uncomfortable, and you think
Yeah.
you've gone through it, and that's actually the beginning of you actually facing the right way. Now we're facing the
Yeah.
right way, aren't
Right.
we? Yes,
Exactly.
and this is what, like any good program, the lessons will bring you into, okay, this is what I was seeing before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it.
Right. It's
I need
painful.
something else. That's it.
Yeah. Help.
Help. Because I can't, not only that, I can't repair it.
Right.
There's no options within a dream scenario to undream.
Exactly.
And this is when you start having an awakening modality. You just go, wee! Thank you,
then
God.
even the method doesn't matter to you
Right.
at that point.
Right.
I
And
didn't give a
there's,
shit about A Course in Miracles. I didn't give a shit about any
Well-
spiritual book I'd read at that point. I was just like, help.
Yeah.
I'm on my knees.
well, that's the loss of identity, isn't
Yeah.
it? When you-
Yeah, which is the last thing you want to give up.
Right, absolutely.
I mean, you won't do it.
Right.
Until
Because I
you have no
believe that
choice.
I'm going to succeed in whatever I think I am.
Yeah.
I'm a really good cameraman, and
Yeah.
I think I'm great.
Of course you do.
Fabulous.
It's really fun.
Otherwise I wouldn't be me, you know what I mean? I love myself.
Yeah.
Or I love hating myself, which is the other side of it, isn't it?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, these relationships that we have as human beings are all hate. You know,
Right.
it's the hardest part is to see that that's true and that the hate is within me. And but that when that gets transformed, you see that that's really not true.
Right.
You've always just loved everyone.
Now the thing is that makes you different from a dream figure now is that you're offering the possibility of healing. Now we
Yeah.
go through, okay, we've got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We've gone through our full resurrection, and that's what we call an awakening experience.
Mhm.
Now that makes you different, doesn't it? Why?
Completely.
Because you've been healed.
Yeah. Totally.
Oh my God,
And I had
can
nothing to
anybody
do with
hear
it.
that? That this is the importance of the proximity to someone like you now. You're
Yes.
different.
Yes.
You're healed.
Completely different.
What does that mean? You can heal.
Yeah.
This is, when we start to talk about the necessity of aggregating in a singular moment of a spatial reference of conversion, which is getting together and falling in love.
Yeah.
Why? Because you can help me.
Yeah.
You're my brother. And not only that, something's happened to you that's different.
Mhm.
And you won't give me the reflection of my dreaming scenario anymore, will you?
No.
You got because
I can't.
it doesn't have any meaning to you because you've been healed. You just kind of go, sorry about whatever that is you're going through, but that's not real. It's not real because I've seen the unreality of it and it's been undone through me. And I'll lend that moment of time to you for an instant, and that's how we heal.
Yeah.
This is how we collapse time. It's incredible.
It happens every day.
Yeah, and that's,
Yeah,
well,
it's
actually we're in a
every day.
continuance
Yeah,
now, aren't we?
completely.
Right, and this
Yeah.
is what a teacher will guide. You kind of land in time and go, oh, I don't know what's going on here. Thank God I've been given an out-of-time manual
Right.
to help me if I'm in for this moment, this 3 days, this 40 days of continuance, whatever we're doing here in an instant. Because once you've started that process, you start to travel through time rapidly, don't you?
Yeah.
And you're completely
You're
different.
not
You're not
you
that
can't
person
locate
that you
yourself.
even remember.
Yeah.
Like that kind of depressed person doesn't exist anymore. I don't know.
I can have a memory of it if I want to. I can bring the memory back into my mind and go through the pain of it again. But why?
Right.
You know, I mean, I can, and I've done it before, but then I've had to catch myself and say, but that's all over. Why am I repeating that? I don't want to experience, like when I think of my children, I don't want to experience pain. That's insane. You know, the insanity is to want to keep hanging on to this painful memory, and then I see that that's one of the obstacles to peace. That is the attraction of death, or wanting to get rid of it, wanting to get rid of peace. That's the first obstacle. And that, you know, your mind will still continue to play tricks on you. That's why you have to get really vigilant.
Right.
And that's why I love
That's
the 10th
why we
step
do the
and the
lesson
12th step
every
of
day.
the 12-step program is watch my mind every day, take an inventory every day. Who am I still grievous with? You know, do I have a minute to read this part about the, okay. Look in your own mind just for a second. This is the mind training. Are you holding a grievance against somebody? Come on. It's a fun thing to do. Generally speaking, things are happening outside that you don't like. This is obviously the practice that you're going through in your own enlightenment. In your own realization that there is no world, this is the practice that you would have, isn't it? You know what's tough to teach about this? I'm not concerned about the concepts at all, but only the emotion of the concept. So every idea you have has emotions attached to that. The question is not that. The question is, are you emotionally fearful or emotionally loving? Okay? It's either or. There's no in between. And then you can release your own fearful self-concept, which gives you the love of God, which is what you are. And it's that simple. So it's really, you know, it's like, how come I wasn't able to do it on my own? Because I need help. And it says this so beautifully. I mean, it's no different from taking a fourth step in the 12-step program and really looking at, oh, where am I still hanging on? And it's a searching and fearless moral inventory. You know, it's like taking that every day and looking, where am I hanging on? Who am I still judging? And why? You know, I mean, I know judgment is insane and it doesn't work, but I know that is, my ego mind is tricky. Ego is a trick, and you're playing that trick on yourself. And it's a vigilant thing. You have to practice it all the time. You know, you can't think, oh, I'm done with that. No, I'm beyond it. You know, I do A Course in Miracles. I don't need to do the 12-step program. Or, you know, I mean, it's just insane how you will avoid the moment of really looking at yourself.
Well, this world is a giant addiction to death. What does the old man say that very rarely is ever said by anyone in the world? He says, you are what the problem is. Or what were we saying this morning, Ellie?
That's it.
Something.
You are what the problem is.
You are the denial.
You are the denial, and it's active.
Right.
You're actively denying Jesus all the time.
You've just cleared a room.
Sorry, but it's true.
Those thousands that were behind you, they're out of McDonald's now or something. What? I am the denial?
Yes, you are the denial.
See, but if you can hear that, that's freedom.
So that's where you have to see.
Right,
You are also the solution.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because you're also the savior, and that's the thing you're most afraid of.
Absolutely. Well, that's what terror is.
Yeah.
See, but if you are the denial, then that's the point of resurrection. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Otherwise, we can spend thousands of years wandering in and out, being nice to each other, or pretend to be forgiving, or even pretend to be practicing the Course.
Absolutely.
Because nothing's happening.
Right.
We got the denial. Okay. Oh my God. It's impossible.
So I'll just stay in bed all day.
Yeah, it's impossible. But if it's impossible, then this mustn't have happened at all. And that's right at the revolutionary moment of awakening, isn't it? And then you go, oh my God, if this didn't happen at all, then I'm not a body.
Mm-hmm.
These things aren't happening to me right now. This is over. Last week's show, you know, they're always just like, oh, I don't know anything, here we are, in the here and now, we're not a body. And all of a sudden you have access to the universal thought.
And it's very exciting,
Love,
you know, now it's just really exciting. Every day I wake up and I'm like, oh, what kind of a day is this going to be? You know, there's not, I used to wake up in dread, you know, and feel like, oh, another wintry day and blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, oh, I'm going to wake up and be with my brothers and we're going to communicate and love each other. I mean, I can't believe how much I love my brothers now.
Yeah.
I could never love my brother before. I thought I was loving them, but I wasn't. I was just judging all the time.
Mm. Well, it comes in a non-conceptual communication of love that we leave the world together in, and there's no more ecstatic moment than joining in a holy instant. Jesus will say in a holy instant, it's actually brighter than, flashes brightest in heaven. That's how he says it.
Really?
Yeah, he says it's brighter than, like, I don't know, the rest of us hanging around in heaven. I don't know.
That's so cool.
How are we doing with time? We're going to wrap it up. Okay, we're going to go to some fabulous music in our Studio B.
The jazz.
The jazz studio, man.
Yeah.
And we've lined it with an Akashic record of musical memory.
Oh, thanks.
And it looks like a bunch of old books.
Yeah. Just throw all this together.
Yeah, thanks, Monica. All right, we'll be right back.
That's great. Thank you.
Let's fall in love. Yeah. again.
Wow, that was great, and you made it back here so quickly. How did you do that? It's the miracle of modern technology. Fantastic. Okay, February the 15th to the 20th in Wusterwitz, Germany, we have an Advent. February the 10th to the 11th in Poland. Incredible. January the 16th to the 23rd in Preston, England. Oh, that's gone. It was great. And February the 16th to the 18th in Wisconsin Dells, USA. It's going to be a reunion of Universal Teachers. We also have an Advent in Spanish a week from today, which is online on Skype.
Un Curso de Milagros.
Go to the uncursodemilagros.com site and you'll be able to navigate into that from there, and it'll be a gathering of world teachers online. And we also have Ellie and I will be in Florida on the weekend of March 16th.
Where?
In Miami, Florida, and
February 22nd, San Francisco, Course in Miracles Conference.
February 22nd, San Francisco is the Course in Miracles Conference. Ellie will be there too, along with a bunch of teachers. Great!
Wow,
Did we get all that? Yeah, that's a lot going on. Yeah, and that's just the stuff you can see. Okay, so we're going to be winding up our show with a prayer from the 12 Steps.
Yeah, this is the 24 Hours a Day book, and it's, people in AA have been using it for years. And it's for the day of today, February 3rd. Meditation for the day. I believe that my faith and God's power can accomplish anything in human relationships. There is no limit to what these two things can do in this field. Only believe and anything can happen. St. Paul said, I can do all things through him who strengtheneth me. All walls that divide you from other human beings can fall by your faith and God's power. These are the two essentials. Everyone can be moved by these. I pray that I may strengthen my faith day by day. I pray that I may rely more and more on God's power. Thank you.
Don't forget to call us, let us know, drop us a line. We'll have website and email information available, and call us at the Healing Center. Prayer requests, anything. It's all for you. We love you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.